Welcome back, guys, and in this week's video we'll be talking about our flood damaged BMW F80 M3, our complete experience with it, a recap of the entire rebuild, and at the end if it was the right decision to buy it. So here's our 2018 BMW F80 M3. It has a salvage title because it is flood damaged. It was in the 2024 Hurricane Helene, which is up in somewhere around Tampa. And we found this car in the auction lot from Copart up in Tampa, and we bought the car unseen, and we didn't really know what we were getting ourselves into because we never bought a crash car or a flood damage car. So this is a first time, and as you can see, the water line isn't that high. It was around somewhere here, and if we look on the inside, you can see that it's about around 6 inches up to here from the floor from the inside, which covers a lot of electronics on the inside because it just has a lot of electronics that sit low. And we also knew that, or 90% sure that the engine and whatever, the entire engine wasn't damaged because the intake and the exhaust manifold sit way higher. And so we kind of took a risk with that. And the estimated retail value, which Copart said this car had, was around $50,000, and the repair cost was around $37,000, which kind of scared us, which is a lot of money to spend. But we also didn't know how many miles this car had. It said that it has 0. Obviously, it didn't because it's a 2018 car. So that was also a very big risk, which we took with this car. So on the first day of having this car, our main goal was to get most of the interior out, such as seats, carpets, and the door cards, to get everything dry so we can later on put power onto it and start it, obviously. And yeah, so we started off by taking the carpet out and the rear seat. So we ran into our first issue because we couldn't take the back seat rest out, because to access that or to fold them down, you have to open the trunk. And to open the trunk, you need power to the car, which we obviously didn't want to do because that would be a big risk, and you can also damage a lot of electronics in the car if it's still wet. So that was the first thing we had, and since there was also no power to the car, removing the front seats was very difficult because you couldn't move them back and forth to get all 4 bolts out. So that was kind of complicated. And if we look here in the trunk, we had to access some important electronics. As you can see here in the back, we have the fuse box, and here in the side we have the main battery. So we also wanted to get that and check it out so that we can get all the water out, because we didn't know if it was flooded or not. So we just wanted to make sure that that was good. So at the end, after getting a little bit of dry and getting a couple of things out, we just decided to put power onto it, which was a big risk, and to start it. And as you can see here, we got power onto the car and got it started, and nothing happened, which was very good. And luckily then we found out that the car had only 23,000 miles, which was also very good and a good feeling. So after putting power onto the car, we decided to start it up and give it a shot, which was also a very big risk because we didn't know if it actually was flood damaged in the engine. So we gave that a shot. It took about 3 rounds and it started up. Sounded a bit like a vacuum, but that was due to all the water in the exhaust. Obviously the exhaust sits a bit lower, so nothing got into the engine. And yeah, after that we drove it up and down our street a couple of times to get all that out, and then it was there where it should have been. And yeah, after starting it, we obviously had a lot of fault codes around 140. After scanning it, due to all the little electronics in the seat and the back seat and the main ECU and everything, which could have been affected and which was affected. But obviously we knew about this, so we weren't really scared about that. And that just made everybody happy that the car was finally running. So now I'll give you guys a quick recap of us taking the full interior out, flushing everything out with some warm and soapy water, because it may not seem right to put more water into a flood damaged vehicle, but that's the only way to get salt water out, because it wasn't salt water here in Florida. And yeah, that's the only way of getting salt water out of a car, with some warm fresh water. And it took a couple of days to dry. Obviously, we flushed everything out, took the carpets out obviously, and flushed the carpets out, and they also took about a week to dry. We rinsed them through a couple of times, like 3 or 4 times. The seat cushions and everything, leather, cleaned that very thoroughly, and took us a little bit to deep clean everything, but we just wanted to make sure that everything was salt water free and that it was good to go, so we can put everything back together. If you made it this far into the video, it would also help out a lot if you could like and subscribe. Also, comment down below what you guys think of the car. Here you can see that I started off by taking the door cards off. Now we have to remove the center console, which had a couple of screws and plugs. And the last step was to take all the carpets out, and of course the subwoofer too. Now we can finally start by cleaning and washing out the inside of the car. And finally, also wash out the doors. And after just showing you of us cleaning the car, I just want to sum up a couple of parts that we had to replace or which were broken. And to sum up the parts which were broken and which we had to replace, as you could see in the video, we had to take off the door cards just to make sure that those were still intact and everything. The only motor for the windows which we had to replace was the one for the driver's side. Not really too sure why. Could have been from the flood damage or just previously maybe, but we had to replace that. We had to take obviously the seats out and everything, had to get new seat rails, new seat console, and a new module, new motors and everything. So that was a lot of parts. Obviously had to take out the entire center console, and if we go to the back, the back seats also both have one module for the heated seats and everything, and those also had to be replaced because they also sat in water, so those were completely done for, so we had to buy new ones. And if we go to the passenger side real quick, so this is also something we were scared of from the start, because behind this panel sits the main ECU, which kind of controls the entire car. And this was also in the salt water, and about 1/3 of the entire ECU was covered, which is also the reason why we had 140 error codes. But luckily the car still started. If the entire thing would have been underwater, the car wouldn't have recognized the key, so we couldn't have started it. We couldn't have seen how many miles were on it. So we would have just had a completely like brain dead car, because we could just call this the brain of the car, wouldn't function anymore, and the car would just sit there and not start anymore, which is also the reason why we then had to buy a new one and replace that. Took a little bit, but yeah, that was definitely something we were scared for, that this was affected. Sadly it was. So all of these parts which I just went through, which we had to replace, we bought from eBay from professional dealers, which take crash cars and they take the parts out, test them and see if they still work, and then sell them to people out there that are looking to replace parts like we are. And obviously this is a 2018 car. It's not a new car, used to be a new car, but all the little components inside aren't new anymore, so there's not a problem with buying used parts from eBay. And we also made sure that they weren't used a lot. And yeah, there's no problem with buying used parts. We bought most of them, or all of the parts, from a 2018 model as well. So it's all the parts in there are made from 2018. So as I've said, there's no problem with buying used parts. And the main ECU, or the brain of the car, we also bought that from eBay. We looked through the entire internet to find parts in the US, but we didn't find any because the number on it has to be the exact same. So we didn't find any here in the US, but we randomly found one in Japan. So we got that shipped over, and technically that one was a completely empty one. So we had to clone it over from the old one to the new one. So it has the key fob and everything, the VIN, so it knows what car it is and everything. And it's not a program or a coding procedure, it's just literally cloning it. And we didn't do that part, we let someone else do that, a professional. And after that, after getting it cloned, so we got our own little toy to program and code around on cars. And after that, after having it cloned, we programmed it to the car itself, which also was a pretty long procedure and took us a while to know how to do that, because that was also our first time programming and doing stuff like that around the car. And we're pretty proud about getting that done. And yeah, we're just pretty glad that we got this so we can program and code on other cars in the future. And after having the main ECU programmed to the car, it also programmed all the other modules like seat modules, etc., to the whole car so it can all talk to each other. And that was a very big step, because that got us from the 140 error codes to 14, which is a very big step. And after fixing all those little things that the car still had, those 14 error messages, we started working on the outside a little bit. We threw on some spacers. We did, I think, 20 millimeters all around. We put some lower springs on the car, which just makes the fitment look very good. And as you can obviously see, we wrapped it in a Hornet yellow, which just makes the car pop, and I think it was the best color we could have done. Put a wing on it, tinted the tail lights, and after that, we wanted to get the car registered, but then we realized, and since it has a salvage title, it needs a rebuild title to get it registered, meaning that it has to get an inspection. So after getting an appointment for that, so we went up to Tampa to get that inspection done. So after that, we can finally register this car and get it on the road. And to answer the most important question, which a lot of people also have, is the numbers. We bought this car for around $20,000 plus fees and taxes, $25,000, and all the repair, the little parts which we had to replace on the interior and everything, around $28,000 in total. So we had to pay an extra $3,000 on top, which for this is a complete steal, because it barely has 25,000 miles on it, and for a 2018 is just a very good price. And if it has a estimated retail value of $50,000, that's just a complete steal and bargain. So would I do this again? 100%. Have we done it again? Yes, with the G80, which we'll see in the next video. It will also help out a lot if you could like and subscribe to help this channel grow, so we have more future projects for you guys to watch. And if you haven't watched any previous videos, definitely go check them out. Drive safe and stay tuned.